Hi, I'm inside the cider mill right now, and I want to share something with you that I'm really kind of excited about, and that is the new space with the barrel room, um, Clarksville Station, is going to have an electrically heated floor, and there were a lot of design requirements for that. The least of which was it had to have a minimal footprint. I did not have room to put a boiler or something up on the wall. Everyone says do hydroponic. Yeah, it's not a panacea. There's the right solution for the problem. So I opted to go with an electrically heated floor, which is actually going to use less power to heat the floor than if I had an electric hot water heater and was running circulating pumps and I was worried about it freezing. I don't have that problem. This is direct, and the only footprint is a thermostat on a wall, and then it's its own breaker. So let me show you this for a minute, and I'll just keep going with this as the project continues. I got the style that is already tied to a mesh for my convenience because it helps to maintain the spacing as I roll it out. Okay, so there's a reason for this. The yellow part that you see here, that is the heating element. The power feed, it's got a long cable, so that goes down, but the yellow must always be in contact with the concrete. It needs a way to get rid of the heat that's in it. This is made by Ouellet. It is a Canadian company up in Quebec. They're very helpful, they're very nice. They gave me confidence because they said, well, we have an umpteen-year warranty on this. And I'm like, yeah, it's buried in concrete. How are you going to support the warranty? And they definitely showed me how they were going to do that. So I have more confidence in this product. This one here is a 240 volt grid. I wanted to do that on purpose to balance the generator, whatnot, efficiency in the wiring. So I have red black, which we're all familiar with, is my hot leads, and a yellow green, which is kind of a blend between the European standard for grounds and North America. And when you get it, they're explicit. They tell you you need to do incoming inspection on this product. Now, fortunately, I have all the equipment to do that. First of all, you're going to measure the resistance between these two leads, and you're going to compare it with what the factory measured for resistance. That is, if there was a pinch, a punch, a crimp, and a damage to it, it would partly be reflected as a change in resistance. I was only 0.2 ohms different than the factory measurement, so that's totally cool. I'm happy. The other measurement you want to take is what we call it's an insulation test, and we say we meg it. And what we do is you apply high voltage between the ground and the hot leads. And the spec for that usually says you have to have this resistance at this voltage. In the manual, they neglected to say what the test voltage was. Now they use a very high test voltage at the factory. I can do a little over 2,000 volts. But I said, how's 1,000 volts? He said, fine. Test it at 1,000 volts. You'll get a go. You'll know if there's been a hole in the insulation someplace. So I will be testing it later at 1,000 volts. This is important because, again, this is exposed to moisture. And while you may not see a resistance change, if moisture were to creep through that hole, and with a Megger test, it would arc, but in this case, it would cause a ground fault, and now you got a problem because it's under concrete when you found that out. So it's super important. Read the manual, okay? As a guy who wrote manuals for 7 years, we got calls a lot, and I got calls in the service too, and it was obvious that the customer had not read the manual. The questions were answered directly in the documentation, and there's this good documentation. The only thing I found it wanting was they asked me to perform a test and they didn't give me the conditions, and they were very straight up about it. If you care or you teach a second language, you could use this as a training aid. It's in French and English because it is a Canadian product. I'm very happy with this and I'm really excited. Now, why is it in here, you say? One of the requirements that's in the manual is it cannot be installed below 40 degrees Fahrenheit. And all I can imagine is that affects the elasticity of the heating elements. Okay, so I'm keeping it warm. Now I'm also headed off to the store. I'm going to get tarps to close the doors. So using my torpedo heater, before this comes out, I can warm the inside of the barn up into the 50s. It's going to take a bunch of fuel, but it's kind of a necessary thing to do, because when I put this down, I don't want to put any stressors on it that, because I read the manual, I already knew about it. So I'll put a link down below for Ouellet. The way it worked is I contacted the factory, told them what I was looking for. They got me in touch with the local distributor that's right here in Warren, and I ordered it. COVID really did put a lot of delays on this, but put a lot of delays on everything. So, but all the way along, it's been fine. This is a CSA UL approved product. Don't have any safety concerns with it whatsoever, but read the manual. So I'll let you know more as it all comes along. Take care. Talk to you later. Bye for now.